Hi, my name is Jasmine Michelle, and I am going to be talking about experimental design with you, based on the sixth edition task list. And I have a PowerPoint for you so we can talk about it. So I'm going to be doing section D with the experimental design, and I have a few notes probably just to talk about with you guys. And since there's going to be a whole big presentation, I kind of want to talk about this with you. So just a review, this is the task list for section D. Um, it's about dependent and independent variables, internal and external validity, identifying threats to internal validity, like history and maturation, talking about single case experimental designs, single case, talking about the strengths of single case experimental designs, interpret experimental designs. There's going to be different types of designs, including multiple baseline, multi-element, change of criteria, etc. Um, we're talking about rationales of conducting comparative component and pair method analysis, which is highlighted because that's what I'm going to be talking about with you guys today, and applying single case experimental designs. So we're going to start off with comparative analysis. What is that? What do we do? And how can this affect in real life? So a comparative analysis compares two types of treatment. Think about the root word compare. So comparative, compare. So we're going to ask this question: which intervention works best? On this picture here, let's just say the title for this is task completed, and we are going to be talking about Adderall and Ritalin from a comparative, and we're going to compare to see which two types work. And in this case, I created this graph by myself, but in this case, as you can see, Adderall, intervention A for both of them is much more higher than Ritalin, which is intervention B. So comparing both of them, Adderall will complete the task more than Ritalin. So you're, like I said, for comparative analysis, we're going to compare two types of treatment. An analysis, um, you're basically what it is that you're going to identify all the active elements of a treatment or the necessary components of the intervention or the independent variable. But there are two types of components. There's dropout component, which you're presenting the treatment package as a whole, and then systematically, slowly, you're going to remove some of the components, like you're going to remove some of the interventions. And then there's add-in component, which you're going to present it individually, or you're going to put it in combination. You can put 2, 3, and then after that, you're going to present the whole treatment package. So on this graph here that I also created, you're going to ask this question: which part of the treatment works best for this client? Now, for this one, we're going to talk about peer social interaction. So, intervention A, it's a baseline. As you can see on this graph right here, this client has no peer social interaction. So, we're going to go to intervention B, which is FCT, token economy, and extinction. Now, as you can see, it's like somewhere in the middle, but it's not what we want. And intervention C, just FCT. Then intervention D, just token economy. And then intervention E, extinction, and then F, token and extinction. Now, as you can see from this graph, token economy works best with this client to do peer social interaction just because it is the highest out of all of them. So in this case, it's also an add-in component. You're going components individually, or you're also presenting it in combination. So like I said, FCT, token, board, extinction, and that's what it is. Parametric analysis. Think of parametric as a dosage. So metric is a number. So this is to seek to discover the differential effects of a range of values for the independent variable. Now, in this case, in this graph, we're going to talk about task completed, You're going to see how much is the intervention is most effective to change behavior. So in this case, let's just say the task completed, let's say it's Adderall again. Now, in this case, section A, this is at 0 and it is very low. Section B is at 5 milligrams. It's all right, but it's not what we want. But you can see section D, this is 10 milligrams of Adderall. It's skyrocketed than any of these interventions here. But we're going to double check. We're going to go back to 5 milligrams. Now, then we're going to go back to 10 milligrams. It looks great, just like the other phase. But now we're adding 15 milligrams. Does that help? It is below. It's right in the middle. So as you can see, 10 milligrams will work for this client for task completed. Finally, non-parametric analysis. Think of non-parametric analysis like you're turning on and off a treatment. So I highlighted on in bold for you, just for you guys to just see. It examines the effects of an independent variable by comparing the presence and the absence. So you're turning on the IV, and you're turning off the IV too, just to compare to see the behavior. Now, again, task completed. In intervention A, there's no medication. It's low. And then in intervention B, you take a medication, it works. And you're turning it on and off continuously until you see a pattern. And clearly, when this client takes medication, they do their work. When they don't have a medication, they don't do their work. Now, if you guys are paying attention, I have a pop quiz for you. Which of the following would be most appropriate for conducting a component analysis? A, withdraw a quantity of each component to determine the amount of each intervention necessary. B, withdraw the treatment package to determine if the client is ready for maintenance. C, withdraw one component at a time. Or D, withdraw all components except for one to assess one component at a time. I have the answer here, so if you need to think about it, pause this video, and when you are done, unpause, and we're going to look at the answer. Yes, C, you are correct. It is withdraw one component at a time. Now, remember, the part of component analysis, it includes add in and drop out component. It presents a treatment package as a whole. So, if you're adding in something, you're adding in simultaneously, or you're adding in one at a time, two at a time, whichever, until you see the whole treatment package. Thank you guys so much for listening and talking to me about all the analysis. And then these are my sources here, just in case if you need to refresh, it will be on the paper book if you have it. And thank you guys so much.